follow a pattern that follows the loop on down into the medulla and then back up again. And these capillaries are called peri, which means around, tubular, referring to the tube of the nephron, capillary. Now they will run parallel and right alongside the loop and the proximal convoluted tubule. They'll come up here and run around the distal convoluted tubule, and then they will regather and go into the venous system, and that'll eventually drain out of the kidney. So that's the blood component of the nephron. Now we've got a tubular component that fits with the blood component to complete the nephron. And the first structure is this little double-layered cup that fits around the glomerulus. Remember, we used my fist as the glomerulus and took that squishy balloon and just pushed the balloon around the fist, and one layer clung to the outside of my fist, and that was the visceral layer of the capsule, and then there was an outer layer, the parietal layer. So that's the idea of a double-layered cup, and it is referred to as Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule is that little double-layered cup. Now, when you put Bowman's capsule and the included glomerulus together, you create a little structure that is, that is referred to, both parts being together, is referred to as the renal corpuscle. So the word renal corpuscle is a term that includes Bowman's capsule wrapped around the glomerulus. Okay? Everybody see how the terminology works there? Okay. So that's what we've got right here, the renal corpuscle. The glomerulus inside, this little double-layered cup holding it, just like a baseball glove would hold the baseball in the pocket of the glove. And now we have a tube that leaves Bowman's capsule and begins a journey through the cortex of the kidney and then down into the medulla. And this upper part of the tube that goes through a contortion is referred to as the proximal. Proximal meaning close to, remember. Proximal convoluted tubule. Now that's a lot to write out every time, and so everybody likes to shorten it to PCT. So I'm going to do that also, and for that I'll write PCT up there. Remember that I'm really talking about the proximal convoluted tubule. It's that short little squiggly section of the tubule right after the tubule leaves the Bowman's capsule. Okay, next we go down into a loop that goes down into the medulla of the kidney to some degree, and this is called the loop of Henle, H-E-N-L-E, H-E-N-L-E, Henle, loop of Henle. And the loop of Henle goes down and then turns and comes back up again, up into the cortex, and it goes through a second convoluted section. And since this is further away than the other one, this one is referred to as the distal convoluted tubule. And of course you can see how that would be shortened to DCT. There was a point of communication right here between the DCT and the afferent arteriole. And that point of communication between the wall of the DCT and the afferent arteriole is referred to as the juxta, J-U-X-T-A, juxta, meaning holding next to, glomerular apparatus. And there again, that's a lot of words to write out. So people like to shorten that to JGA. But remember our test, one of the questions might be, what does JGA stand for? And Lindsay, you have to write out juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay? All right, so it's okay to use those shortened versions of things as long as you know what the original long name is. Okay, they have a common wall, come together to form a common wall at that spot called the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Now the distal convoluted tubule is going to continue into a duct that has gathered many distal convoluted tubules. You can see other distal convoluted tubules flowing into this duct. And this duct is called the collecting duct. The collecting duct. Now, I want to superimpose this on one of those renal pyramids. You don't remember what a renal pyramid is? It's that little structure that's sort of shaped like a little candy corn piece. And here's the pyramidal look that we get. These nephrons with their renal corpuscles, they're all up here. And then the proximal convoluted tubules are right next to the renal corpuscle. And then the loops of Henle will come down into the medulla to different depths. Some of them go way down in and come back up. Some of them barely get down in there before they go back up like that. So the nephrons have a loop of Henle that can go very deep into the medulla, or there are some that just barely touch the top of the medulla, of that renal pyramid structure that we talked about. So they can be different depending on how deep their loop of Henle goes down into the medulla. Okay, everybody kind of got the idea of how it fits together in terms of the cortex and the medulla. If I were going to put the division line between cortex and medulla on here, I'd probably say, this, I'm just using this as a kind of a generic example. It would be right about in here. Everything above there would be in the cortex, everything below would be in the top of that pyramid that I just drew over here. Does that make sense to everybody? Hearing nothing, I will assume yes. All right, well, that's what we did last time. We created this whole thing so that now we know the names of the different parts. And today we're going to make it work. We're going to make it do